Here we go again then, we've made it to double figures. Welcome along ladies and gents to round 10 of the Invictus Racing League PC F1 League, sponsored by GT Omega and in partnership with gridfinance.com and Drive 61, where it's no doubt going to be max attack at Zandvoort here on the coastline of the Netherlands, a country which is quite used to standing high above the rest. Dutch people are amongst the tallest in the world with an average height of 177 centimetres. And did you know that the Dutch national anthem is one of the oldest in the world, dating back to the mid-16th century? With many Dutch drivers on the grid tonight, then don't be surprised if we were to hear it once more on the podium later on. But before the podium, we need to tackle the track. 2.6 miles long is Zandvoort, and like Hungary last week, it's tight, narrow and twisty. 2 DRS zones will assist overtaking, and it's going to be a challenging race tonight, I think, around these 14 corners, with a chance of safety car more than likely. Cameron, many drivers have said they find this track difficult, so do you expect some surprises tonight?
Good evening everyone, thank you once again for the intro, and yes, this is a difficult track to come to for round 10 of this 15 round season. We went to Hungary last time out, so that's a difficult track to overtake, and it is basically the same once more, but as we talk about overtaking, a lot of that can be negated if you qualify well, and we already have a few cars that are jumping out on their outlaps. And yeah, so we are in the Netherlands. It's a bit like a home Grand Prix for, well, it is for many of our drivers, a strong Dutch contingent within Invictus Racing League. So let's see if they can have a jolly time around Zandvoort, the Dutch coast. Whether they might find themselves in some difficulty. And finding themselves in some difficulty last time out were a couple drivers in Hungary who DNF'd. We had Costa DNF, Liam Markham DNF, as well as Undertaker, so they'll be looking to score some more points to bid their championship aims for the rest of this season. But Fozzy Asbashi is coming up towards starting his first flying lap. Do you want to take us around?
Yes, let's go around a lap of Zandvoort, where we're just going to start the lap by going on a bit of an angle here, a bit of a gradient, bit of banking for that final corner, but that sets you up quite nicely for this run down into towards turn 1. And it's 180 degrees all the way around as you kiss the apex there and try and get a good drive without going too wide onto the gravel to take you down to this tight and twisty part where we find another banked corner all the way around turn 3, and then it slingshots you out. Get a lot of speed as you carry your way all the way down. It's like a go-kart track, they say this track is. It's narrow and it's quick, and you can sort of see how it does resemble a go-kart track in places, being incredibly narrow, including around here. This is round, well, that's not the best line to take if you're an AlphaTauri driver. That's not going to help on a qualifying lap, but I was going to say, as we go around turn 7, it's normally flat around there, and then we're going to come into turn 9. It's a bit of a blind corner, that one. But it does set you up to get around turn 10, which then sends you onto another DRS straight. So he's heavy on the power as the number 15 car. He hasn't actually got DRS open. I think he has aborted this lap, obviously, because of that incident. And looking on the driver tracker, there are quite a few people making a few mistakes. And a couple of spins I've seen already. I saw Owen's Vibing spinning earlier, and it looked like one of the Red Bulls just had an issue as well. But it is the first lap time that we are going to get from Bassi, so considering it had an off, we'll see what the time's going to be. We see a few more yellow flags as some people just slow down to start their flying laps, but the time to beat, 1:16.1, and I imagine that will be beaten quite easily.
Indeed, especially with his difficulties around Sector 2 there. Now, with a tight circuit, I believe we're going to have some similar issues as we get in tracks like Monaco, where the traffic starts backing up in qualifying towards that final corner. We'll be around just before 13, 14 is the final corner, in order to get on the power. But you don't want to cool your tyres too much, or else you risk losing too much traction and drifting off into the wall on the outside of the back corner or towards the inside, where really you just want to be on the nice asphalt surface. But Emir on the medium tyres, again, a strategy we see a lot of the time. Get out on the mediums, get a nice run, feel for the time and the track, and then go on to the softs when it counts later on. But setting the pace, Kangakon, the championship leader, with a 1:10.957. He scored a singular point last time out in Hungary, but he still has 83 points to his name, and that is just over 30 points difference between him and Jasper, who is the second closest car in this championship fight and is also the top flying Dutchman in the standings. So he'll be looking forward to this home Grand Prix, I'm sure, as you see a couple of cars pulling off to the side. Amir, one of them, getting this corner all sorts of wrong and just trying to negate any difficulties for the Haas car that was trying to get around. Last time's race winner then, LTB RSD in McLaren. McLaren have been settled into this championship fight quite nicely as the Aston Martin just in the foreground, facing perpendicular to the direction of flow. But RSD won last time out in Hungary, also won in Britain, so a mixture of tracks he's won at, and that means McLaren are actually now within scope, realistically, of a championship fight for the team's title, the constructors. 87 points they sit on, just 11 less than championship leaders at the moment, Mercedes. With Williams 1 point behind Mercedes, so that fight is heating up. So maybe not necessarily in the drivers, but the constructors is still all to play for, as Jeremy Clarkson is now second with a 1:10.794.
Yeah, quite a few drivers finding issues on this track, one of which is Liam Markham, who's just lost his front wing. That's going through turn 9. He just sort of got on the gas a little bit too heavy and went round into the 100-metre braking board and, yeah, lost his front wing. He's the first one I've actually seen have damage from these spins. A few people have gone off, they've brushed the barrier, but no one's actually lost their wing yet, until now, until Liam Markham. But yeah, a lot of people going on the medium tyres, a quarter of the grid. We do see people go on the mediums quite often during the early stages of qualifying, but to have a quarter of the grid do it, that's quite a lot. So what do you think, Cameron? Do you think there's some strategy there?
So in my own knowledge of this track, the medium tyre is a very nice race tyre around here. I find the soft burns off too quickly actually on the early stage of the race, and I find for me personally the best tyre to start on is the medium, then go on to that soft tyre later, because the loads that these cars put into the tyres just cause that thermal degradation, especially through those high speed banked corners, the likes of turn 7 and etc. So you can really throttle the tyres, and sometimes it is easier to be on that medium. You don't get the initial grip on the start, but the longevity of that harder compound certainly comes into play over the course of the 50% race distance. So I do wonder whether we will see people try and get that medium tyre into the top 10 towards the end of qualifying. A lot of them, in fact all the medium runners so far, are actually in the top 10, but you'd expect lap times to move about, ebb and flow throughout this qualifying session. 11 minutes left, and Mustaris 667 is currently on his outlap, setting the car up, ready to burst a bit of life into those tyres. He's got a McLaren behind him though, of it's B Jasper, who is on a also an outlap on the soft tyres. So McLaren looking pretty strong already with RSD in second place, and Undertaker is set to pace the 1:10.4 as well earlier on. Very nice pace for Undertaker. We go back to Liam Markham. He's had a bit of a interesting season. He scored 0 points in Brazil, 1 in Australia with that hectic race, and has only managed to score points on 3 other occasions, and has DNF'd in the rest of them. So he'll be looking for a bit of an improvement on his DNF record. He, you know, it started off well. Unfortunately, has not gone his way throughout the season. Nicholas Swain recently joined us for Ferrari. He has been doing pretty well as well. Although he scored 0 points last time and DNF before. But, you know, it's difficult. Tough competition in this season. And hopefully with a bit of luck and a bit of talent, he'll be on the way to scoring more points, Fozzy.
Yeah, Cass has just done exactly the same as what Liam Markham did just a few laps ago, although... Cameron... I don't know why, but Cameron, for the second week in a row, has just been distracted by the exact same thing in his room that caught him off guard last week.
Professionalism there. It's fine. It's okay. Don't know what you're laughing at, Fozzy.
You need to get rid of that thing off your desk. He's got this
It's this lovely picture of you. No. It's this lovely picture of you. You know, and you tell you what, you're quite funny looking. So if it catches me off guard every now and then, as Mustara has been caught off guard by invalidating his track limits, professionalism in the comms box is maintained once more. Unfortunately, not maintained for Mustarius, who fails to set a lap time due to invalidating it earlier on. Fozzy, carry on though.
Yeah, I was going to say before the slight comical interlude that it was one of the Alpines that had a bit of an issue, I believe. Did the exact same as what Liam Markham did. So quite a few people having a bit of an issue on the exit of turn 9. It's the one I said is quite blind, so maybe people are just getting a little bit too heavy on the throttle. 4 drivers yet to set a lap time. Mustaris, Daigoro, Liam Markham and Cass. So we'll have to see how they get on their flying laps. It looks like who've we got on a flying lap? Well, Mustarius is, but go on, Cameron.
Yeah, Amir and his Red Bull partner Maya setting the lap times, or will be, hopefully, after they get this lap done. But they're quite close to each other on track. I was wondering if Amir was looking for a bit of a tow from Maya, but I feel that they might end up tripping over themselves if one car is slightly quicker than the other and obtaining a bit of that dirty air. So hopefully he won't get snowed as such, and because, well, he's not here. But Kankakon is certainly here and sets the pace with a 1:10.337, so just under a tenth, as Amir goes very wide there through the tight right-hander that opens up quickly. And then you've got to it's all about your braking zones here. You've got to, in order to turn the car in, you need to brake slightly earlier, but there are multiple different lines available. Remember, this is also a DRS zone that Amir is travelling through, so potentially an overtaking opportunity here. However, we expect to see most overtaking opportunities take place into turn 1, because why would you overtake here when the driver can just get DRS on you and then take you into turn 1? It seems a bit of a pointless game, but Amir will be not looking to set a lap time, because he's also just invalidated on the exit of turn 14 there, or sorry, turn 13 on that curb. We've seen a couple drivers just struggling to keep it within track limits as the car strains out, and there is a Haas. Owen is vibing. Owen is around once more, gets out of the way of his teammate though, Edu, but unfortunately that's going to offset his pace a little bit further there, Fozzy.
Yeah, but he's lost the front wing as well, so that's another trip to pits for him. Someone who's yet to set a lap time is Daigoro in the Ferrari, but he is on a flying lap, and he's negotiated the majority of Sector 1 quite nicely. He's just got the little squiggly bit down towards turn 6 to get through now, but he's got a lot of clean air in front of him. It's the Red Bull going through turn 9. That's going to be the nearest car to him, but that's quite a... well, it's almost a sector ahead of him, so he's got all the track he needs, has Daigoro. Let's see what lap time he can do as he's making his way through Sector 2 now, up towards turn 9. We've seen a lot of drivers lose it here. Does he manage to get through? Yes, he does, quite nicely, leaving all the brake markers in their original position as well. And then it's heavy on the throttle and DRS open. 6th gear, 7th gear, all the way down towards turn 11, the tightest corner on the track. You kiss the apex of that curb, and then you bring it across to the left, and if you can stay off the curb quite nicely, you do get a nice drive down towards turn 13. The final corner, it leads you onto the banked turn 14. Does he keep it in track limits? Yes, he does. So this should be quite a nice lap for the Ferrari driver to get him quite nicely up the timing tower. Let's see where it puts him, and that's Daigoro up onto the second row, joins his teammate Nicholas Swain. It's the Ferrari 3-4 at the moment.
Ferrari looking very strong in qualifying. Whether they'll keep that strength throughout the race, as they now get moved down a position, as RSD takes the fastest lap provisionally with a 1:10.134. We could potentially get into the 109s here if there is a lightning fast lap. But the tyre life certainly goes out of these Pirelli soft compounds very quickly. You use them up earlier on the lap, you don't have enough to get that grip around turn 13. You want to get on the power nice and early and without struggling. Edu there, 1:10.152 for the Haas driver. A very strong lap time indeed there for him. Slightly unexpected actually, so brilliant job for the 21 car. That will be... he's offset his teammate quite massively, as now Undertaker retakes pole position provisionally with a 1:10.054. Can we get below the 1:10s into the 1:9s? You certainly would think so with the pace that these drivers are showcasing so far. There is a bit of time left in qualifying, and we'll find out when the yellow flag removes itself. There we go, 4 minutes and 53 seconds. So plenty of time left in this short qualifying session for the drivers to improve. CanCon Championship leader still within the pits in P4. Nicholas Swain out on a flying lap, heading through the squiggly bits down through turn 6, which begins sector 2. He's got a yellow flag ahead of him. He's got a couple of cars tripping up through turn 7 onto turn 8. There we go, heavy on the brakes now as we head into turn 9. Get the car turning nice, but also maintaining speed throughout the corner and not to overpower the handling of the cars. Mustara jumps up to P2. Undertaker still in P1 for the time being. Now Nicholas gets a bit of DRS and a bit of a tow slightly from Undertaker, braking into turn 11 through turn 12. Brutal on the car. Turn 11 is using that curb on the right hand side to all its advantage, winding up the throttle now through turn 13. Watch yourself on the run off there, very so tight to track limits, keeps it good though, no issues there. Now run all the way to the line out turn 14, but he doesn't. Goes into the pits to change the tyres and get ready for his final flying lap run. But Mustaris again, good lap, 1:10.1. That's 3 drivers in the 1:10.1s there, Fozzy.
Yeah, look how close the Ferraris are on pace. 4,000th between them, so very evenly matched between Daigoro and Nicholas Swain. And I think that was a Cass who just jumped up to P6 as well. Alpine will be looking to get some points. 2 races in a row now where they have not scored anything. So to be up there at P1 and P6 provisionally, it's very good for the Alpine team. Let's hope they can take that through to the end of the race and get some points as well. Although, as I said at the start of the broadcast, the safety car probability is quite high here due to how narrow the track is, and well, there isn't much runoff in some areas, so yeah, safety car definitely entirely possible here, and that might throw some spanners in the works of the strategy room as well. So qualifying is not going to dictate the outcome of this race by a long way, but we see people now coming out for some of their final flying laps. So we have yellow flags in all sectors, but that's, as I say, is as people are just getting out of their way for others on flying laps. 2 minutes 44 remaining here in Zandvoort. We're not too far away from the start of our race now, about 5 minutes to go before lights go out in Zandvoort. Mysterious up there in P2 as well. Remember how we said it just a few moments ago, it was Ferrari on the second row? Well, look how many people have jumped in front of them already. Indeed. That shows just how quickly things can change. We see the Red Bulls going well, spinning around actually. Maya has spun around. It looks like Emir has as well, both at the same corner. I wonder what was going on between the two Red Bull drivers there. It doesn't say they're on outlaps either, so whether they were both trying to set another flying lap and had a bit of a moment together, I'm not too sure. Someone who has had a moment, though, is not Liam Markham. I thought it was because he looked stopped on the driver tracker. But again, he's just one of those drivers trying to build a gap to get another flying lap going.
Look how slow Undertaker is coming out of the pits. They're waiting for Bashi to get past. Didn't want to impede him, but that might affect his warm-up lap. Now, it is a short lap, as you say, 1:10 around here, so drivers will be looking to leave very shortly now. If you're not out of the pits within the next 20-ish seconds, then you're going to be in trouble making it to the line. Edu's still up there in P4, though. Brilliant qualifying so far for the Haas driver, really showcasing his speed around Zandvoort, a track that not many drivers find to be as comfortable at. In fact, many drivers don't particularly enjoy the circuit due to its tight, twisty nature, and it does not generally have that many overtaking opportunities, bar any interesting, chaotic moments. But Undertaker, provisionally on pole, now looks to go on his final flying lap as he rounds turn 12. They're just ensuring that he gets a good run.
And Edu, as you mentioned, he's just set a purple sector 1 and a purple sector 2. This could be a Haas on the front row. Let's see how Edu can do as he negotiates for final corner. Oh, and he just invalidates by going a little bit too wide on the exit of turn 13. That was lining up to be a provisional pole time. Don't know what that time's going to be, of course, but it was looking strong. So the pace is there for the Haas driver. Let's see what he can do in a race with that. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But yeah, P4 provisionally at the moment for the Haas driver. He's going to be gutted to have not got that in. It was going so well for him.
Indeed, Undertaker going well so far. Mystaris is still in the pits. He won't be qualifying any further. And Undertaker has set a purple sector 1, just shy of a 10th improvement through that first sector. Has he overcut the tyres, or can he maintain this Delta pace throughout the rest of the track? It's a Zandvoort, it's a short lap, but it's a tight lap as he almost goes around, manages to wrestle the Alpine and get the car under control once more, but that will do nothing but hemorrhage lap time for that Alpine driver, and it's unlikely whether he will improve any further. He does just slightly improve through sector 2, about 100th, but will that be enough? Who else is on a flying lap? Is RSD able to take the world by storm and take a flying lap and take provisional pole in Zandvoort? Well, Undertaker now comes around turn 14 to the line, and it looks like he's going into not the pits and does not improve. In fact, he doesn't improve by 4 thousandths. But what's RSD doing? He's coming now around the final couple corners. Just keep it clean. What's he like on pace? We'll have to find out as he rushes towards the line, draining whatever's left in that battery. Could it be a front row start for McLaren here? It is indeed. He takes pole with a 109.971. McLaren on the front row once again. He won last time in Hungary. Can he do it all again?
Yeah, I mean, they did make it into the 109s, as you said, so it'd be great to see back-to-back wins from RSD, if you can take that through into the race. No driver this season has scored back-to-back wins, but you know what they say, for the first time for everything. He'd like, though, to possibly have his teammate joining him up at the front of the grid, but it doesn't look like that's going to be happening. It's McLaren P1 and P15. Not the best qualifying for Jasper. Maybe he just couldn't get a lap in with some traffic or a few moments going around. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame for the guy who's second in the championship, but as we say every single week, all is to play for. So don't rule anything out. But your top three, RSD, Untaker and Mustarius. In fact, there are 5 different teams in the top 5 positions. This is shaping up, Cameron, to be a very good Dutch Grand Prix.
Turn 1 will be exciting. Who's going to go for a deep move, possibly just outside the top 10, looking to make up positions. Also, the tyre strategy. Those who are outside the top 10 can start on whatever compound they like. If I were them, I'd be looking towards the medium or even the hard tyre to get a good jump on the rest later on in the Grand Prix. But those in the top 10 are locked in on those soft tyres. Luckily for RSD, he's on fairly fresh soft tyres, so doesn't have to worry about that at all. And he just has to manage to survive turn 1 and hopefully maintain track position throughout the Grand Prix. 40 seconds remaining on this session, although qualifying is complete. It's just waiting for people to get back towards Parc Fermé, and that has been done indeed. So it is McLaren on the front row once more, and that will be an enjoyable thing for RSD. It is a Dutch driver on pole position in Zandvoort. Alpine, though, Undertaker, less than a tenth behind. It's going to be close, it's going to be quick, and we'll just have to find out who will make it through turn 1. Kangon Championship leader starts in 4th, and Edu doing really well, starting 5th. Meyer, the Dane, for Red Bull, starting 6th. Nicholas Swain, Marcus Bashi, and Cass round out your top 10.
Yep, and we know that overtaking can be a little bit difficult here, so you've got 2 DRS zones to help you through, coming out of turn 10 and coming out of turn 14 down the main pit straight. The one out of turn 10, that second DRS zone, isn't the longest, but it has got a very heavy braking zone at the end of it into that chicane around turns 11 and 12. With a bit of a gravel runoff should you get your move a little bit wrong. A little bit of word from race control. It looks like there's a 50% chance of rain coming in this session.
Oh dear.
They say it's likely to be at the end of the race as well. So, will you want to try and get all your overtaking done in the first half of the race? I've seen some of these drivers and everybody's going to want to try and get their overtaking done at turn 1 on lap 1, because they're racing drivers. Who doesn't want to go for an opening lap overtake? But as we look to the skies at the moment, things do look dry to begin with. There's a little bit of mist in the air, but that all might change in about 10 minutes time.
Yeah, we've had wet weather many times before, especially what we've commentated over. In fact, last season in F2 it was just a deluge of rain throughout the entirety of the second half. We've been pretty lucky, though, this time to negate that. But, you know, a bit of rain might spice things up a little bit, throw a bit of trepidation into this Grand Prix, and allow the drivers to possibly gain or lose plenty of positions on changing over to those inter or even fully wet tyres, as we're just waiting for the players to get underway on the formation lap. You know, the pit lane always looks really quiet, doesn't it, in this game? It would be great if you had, I don't know, all the journalists running around and things like that, all the mechanics. It would make the game feel a little bit more alive. The only thing alive that we count on, though, is this race when it gets underway. Fozzy, do you reckon we're going to have a bit of a turn 1 dive bomb, or do you reckon they'll all be nice and polite throughout the opening lap?
It's a tough one. It's like I say, there aren't many overtaking opportunities on the track, so whether it's lap 1, I don't know. But turn 1 is certainly going to be the location for overtakes, I think. As I mentioned just a few minutes ago, turn 11 we might see some audacious moves as well, and well, anywhere on the track is a possibility if you're brave enough, but on track so narrow, I wouldn't expect to see too many overtakes in the likes of turn 4, 6, or even 13. So turns 1 and 11, just think of the ones. That's where your overtakes are going to be likely. But it is a big race for the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes just 1 point ahead of Williams. They're on 98, are Mercedes. Williams, if you can do the maths, are on 97. We're about to get underway for the formation lap as well. So Cameron, when you know rain's coming in a race, what does that do to your tyre strategy? What are you thinking on this formation lap? Are you thinking, okay, well, I'm starting on the softs, I'm going to save these, so I only have to box once, rinters, or are you going to try and get away and risk degrading your softs, so to the stage where you have to box once for another set of slicks, and then again for the inters.
Yeah, so those cars starting on soft will be more inclined, if it's a fully dry race, to take a 2-stop race, as that is generally a bit quicker, a bit more aggressive. But those that are starting on the mediums, especially from P12 to P17, will be looking to extend that run as much as possible to get into that window where there is rain, hope that there is rain, so they only have to take the 1 stop onto intermediate tyres. But those on the soft tyres might try lengthening them out even further and trying to maintain a very low grip level but for a longer period of time. But that all depends on whether they make it through turn 1 and how much of that tyre they use up on the opening stage of the race, as to how long they can then go further from their already targeted pit windows. We see the drivers doing their usual bit of parading around and to warm up the tyres, Fozzy.
Yep, there's quite a bit of a gap between Jasper up at the front and DeLonge, who is a P17 on the timing tower at the moment. But Jasper makes his way around that final corner now, just getting a few more wiggles in to try and get those front tyre temperatures up. Maybe he's going to be going aggressive into turn 1 to try and get away from the carnage, which is no doubt going to endure up behind him. But here we go, it's round 10 of the Invictus Racing League on the PC F1 League, sponsored by GT Omega and in partnership with GridFinds.com and Driver 61, where you join us at the end of the formation now, where the drivers are just about getting into their grid slots on the race. We expect it to be chaotic, and we expect safety cars, and we expect a bit of rain as well. It's all going to kick off in the next few moments. Cameron, I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Fozzy, and thank you all for joining us. I hope you stay with us for the next 36 laps as you await those famous red lights to come on our screens. And in order to get this underway, and here we go then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 laps. We kick off the last third of this season. It's go, go, go once more. RSD gets away well. Undertaker losing already on the start. The Haas is looking feisty into turn 1 around the outside of the Red Bull. So is Mysterious gaining on Kangakon and is instead ahead of Kangakon. He's up into 3rd position already. But look at the Red Bull and Edu in the Haas batting out as Edu almost makes contact with Kangakon around turn 3 as we head towards the up and down roller coaster section. It's the Red Bull on the outside of Edu. He thinks better of it and maintains P6 at the moment. Edu struggles on braking a little bit more, a bit of dirty air already kicking in, but all safely through turn 1, Fozzy.
Yep, a lot of position changes. The Ferrari's going side by side. Looks like one of Ferrari's is ghosting. We have a Haas off. That Owen is vibing. Yeah, Owen is vibing. Owen is taking a trip to the gravel this evening. He finds himself on the exit of turn 8, but it looks like he's got a front wing all in position. So he's maybe going to be able to stick with that. We'll have to see if he goes into the pits. But RSD still leads from Undertaker, Mysterious, Kankakon and Edu. The top 5, as you would. Biggest loser here so far, Nicholas Swain. He's down 5 positions from where he started, and he's just had a Mercedes of Jamie Clarkson go ahead of him as well. Let's see if there's any moves into turn 1 then. Undertaker's going to be following closely behind RSD, but he looks to be just a little bit too far back to make any move into turn 1, as do most of the drivers in the top 5. Meyer very late on the brakes there. I'm going to have a look at Owen is vibing to see if he does go into the pits. No, he carries on. Owen, all good to continue in this race.
Owen went into the wall facing backwards, so if he's got any damage, it's going to wing or diffuser, and that cannot be repaired. He's going to have to nurse that car around the rest of the Grand Prix, as we informed that Nicholas Swain has left the session. He should be able to join back, but hopefully that won't cause too many lag issues. Meyer still looking for that move on Edu, taking a slightly tighter line in. We do have a yellow flag, and that's Undertaker. That is Undertaker. He qualified on the front row, and there goes Meyer as well. Around he goes. Managed to keep out the wall. The back end became the front end, and he has lost multiple positions. He's down 9 from where he started, and it's a devastating day for Red Bull early on this Grand Prix. Not too sure what happened there. It looked like a rear brake locking situation, but lost of control completely, and that means he's now out of the top 10. RSD still leads. It's a 1.1 second gap, as Undertaker is now also down and out of the points and manages to keep it going. We're not too sure on the damage there, but Edu is looking for a move on Kankon. I do see rain on my screen already. I'm not too sure whether that's just a glitch in the game or not, but this is Edu. This won't be a glitch. Down the inside he goes. Manages to maintain the grip levels throughout. Will he get the job done? Runs Kankakon towards the outside. It's respectful racing here. The two drivers are side by side. Championship leader and championship hopeful on the inside. The 35 car manages to maintain the pace on the exit of turn 3 into turn 4, and it's Edu into P3. Kangakon still maintains P4 at this moment of times. The Williams racing driver still looking for a move as we head now towards turn 8. Cutting it right on the limit there. Turns now into down on the gears through turn 9, then down towards turn 10. There will be DRS on this lap, but look at the rain. The little spots of rain are visible on the screen. He does indeed utilize DRS. Does he catch up far? No, he does not, as I believe Edu was not in DRS range but has enough energy in order to maintain P3. A brilliant battle between the two drivers there, but Edu managing to stay on top for another lap. But as we now head towards turn 1, the rain, I can still see it on the screen. When will the drivers box? When does the crossover take place? We're expecting it in the latter half. It seems to have arrived a little bit early on as Kangakon gains into turn 1. Nowhere near enough, but it closes the gap between the Williams and the Haas. The two cars we normally see in real life towards the back of the grid, fighting for podium positions once more.
Yeah, it's close between them two drivers, isn't it? Kangakon really trying to get ahead of Edu where he can. Yeah, it's a shame Maya had that issue earlier as well. He's only had one podium this season. That was all the way back in Australia where he finished second. Following that, he had a DNF. One DNF this season for Maya as well. So let's see what he manages to do. His past 3 races where he's competed in, he's had 6 points in all of them. So let's see what changes he can make to that. See if we can get some more points as well. But yeah, Kangakon, he's just going to line up behind Edu down here, but I think he's a bit too far back to make any move happen. But he knows that in just a few corners time he's going to have that long pit straight to make a move and a dive down into turn 1 if he's feeling brave on the brakes as well. He's not the only driver. Lots of drivers going to be having turn 1 in their minds. Daigoro's not too far behind Bashin. There's fighting going on between Maya and Nicholas Twain further back in the field as well. But let's see what Kangakon is able to do. He looks to be just a bit too far back, but Daigoro does not look too far back from Bashi. He has a look down the inside. Does the Ferrari driver thinks better of it and saves that one for another day, I think, if you Cameron.
Liam into the pits and onto the intermediate tyres he goes. It's a wing change as well, but Liam sensing now is the time to switch from those slick tyres towards the tyres more suitable for wet conditions, and it's a slow stop. But Owen also doing the same. Will they be able to capitalise on this early jump in order to gain positions throughout this pit window opening time? And what will other drivers do now? Will they be monitoring how well Owen and Liam take to the surface? Is it right on the crossover, or is it still leaning towards the slick tyres, or has it already gone? As there is a yellow flag set to 1, and that is Owen. He has no wing. He's going to have to box again. Potentially already a little bit too dry for the intermediate tyres, and they might just be overheating. We'll see how Liam gets on around the following couple corners, which really do test the limit on the car. He's taken that at not full race pace, I'd imagine there. But we'll have to see what the other cars are going to do. The rest still are on slick tyres for the time being. And Kangakon and Edu are staying once more out for another lap as Kangakon slowly leads towards Edu. But Edu, although he's the conductor of this train, he's not being caught by masses of amounts via the rest of the pack who are looking to gain on points positions. Looking to gain also are the Red Bulls, as Amir and Maya managing not to trip over each other. Different tyre compounds for the two drivers, I believe. And look at Maya getting a little bit of a tighter line, then taking the wider line through the heavily banked corner of turn 3 that we see in real life, able to gain that extra run through the roller coaster section. Undulation is the key word here as we head towards turn 6. There is another yellow flag. Is that Liam? That is Liam, and once more it is another DNF, and it is a safety car. Now we will see whether the cars will go into pit for the Inters, but from what we've seen, the evidence that we've observed, it might not be Inters conditions yet, but it's almost time for a new wing for Amir as he managed to slow down just in time, caught off guard by Myers. Very hasty slowing down of his Red Bull too. The two Red Bulls will look to charge through the rest of the pack, but it's a little bit of an uphill climb for them, Fozzy.
Yep, so safety car in essence neutralises the race, bunches everybody back up together again, bunches the pack back up. Yeah, big shame for Liam Markham there. He obviously lost it on the exit of turn 14. Maybe, like you say, was too dry for the intermediates, just didn't have the grip, and if you couple that with touching the curb, Then, yeah, you're heading straight to the scene of the accident. Nicholas Swain joins the session once more, so he'll be back taking control of his Ferrari. But look at that, yeah, lots of people coming into the pits, lots of inters going on. Is there anybody brave enough to go on to another set of slicks? It doesn't look it. They all know what the weather forecast is, but Undertaker, Daigoro, Bashum, Staris and RSD all stay out. They don't think it's time for the intermediates just yet.
We saw earlier the issues of the track just not being fully set for intermediate conditions, but under safety car you're going a lot slower for a couple laps minimum, and that gives time for the rain to accumulate on the surface to get it towards that wet running condition. So I think it's a good idea to box under the safety car now, and you can manage the tyres and the temperatures of those intermediates. But who am I to judge? We're in the commentary, we're not out there driving, and the likes of RSD, Mastaris, Bashi, Daigoro and the rest certainly are. But safety car does give you that opportunistic moment to take a free pit stop, whereas the rest are now bunched up. RSC did briefly disconnect, I thought I saw earlier. He managed to get back in the lobby though, so a bit of worries for the race leader as he manages to try and keep temperature in those softs. If it is wet conditions, those slicks will be losing temperature very quickly indeed, and it'll be a bit of a struggle to maintain the core temperature of that Pirelli tyre. And now, as we go towards the pit lane once more, around these last couple corners, we'll have to see whether they're able to box, or whether they will box, or whether they are locking in to doing a bit more running on the soft tyres. If they're locking in, we could see a change of lead within the next couple of laps, and there we have it, confirmation. They are staying out on the soft tyres. They think the slicks are going to be worth it, as Nicholas thinks twice, and he's going most likely onto the inters there as he drops down towards the bottom of the field within the pit stop. So top 5 drivers on slicks, the rest of the field all on intermediates. It's a showdown of strength and tyre compounds as we look to get underway from this safety car period. Hopefully at the end of this lap we'll be under green flag conditions again, but it is nicely Burt Maylander virtually out in the Aston Martin. There's also green, so a lot of green going on in tyre compounds, the Aston Martins as well.
Yeah, RSD exploring the greenery on the side of the track there, just swerving a little bit too much and taking a trip to the grass. Just wanted to do a bit of advance with Bottas, I think. Cut some of the grass around the edges of Zandvoort, just while you're going a bit slower you can snip little bits here and there. It's a nice safety car, that Aston Martin, isn't it? I do like the Aston Martin safety car. If I was to choose between that or the Mercedes, it would definitely be the Aston Martin. But yeah, let's see if we do get the safety car in at the end of this lap then. It looks like everybody's caught up, apart from the Haas of Owen, who is a couple of light years behind Nicholas Swain down there in P15. It's a case of whether the game's going to allow itself to wait or whether it's going to bring the safety car in, but by the looks of it we might just be going for another lap behind safety car.
And the longer we stay behind safety car, the more advantageous it is for those runners on the intermediate tyres, and it's becoming more of a worry for those on the soft tyres as the track gets wetter and wetter, a bit more greasier as well, and it starts leaning on that kilter towards the wet runners on those inters. So RSC will be hoping that we get underway fairly shortly, I'd imagine, as they therefore head into the pits. So the race leader on lap 8 heads into the pits, and will most likely be a change onto intermediates. That will drop him most likely down to P15 minimum, as we see all the cars coming in for the pits as well, plenty of them, those on those soft tyres. So everyone is on inters, and a couple people are off to the stewards as well, with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, I believe that was. Or was that just contact? It might have been contact under safety car, I'd imagine, because it's an F1 game by Codemasters. But Edu is now your race leader. Oh, we're not winner just yet. We're not there yet, Edu. We've got a little bit of time to go. Kagakon has promoted himself up to second place. Now those tyres will be a bit more fresher for those runners that have come in, and whether that'll be useful on the opening lap. But I'd imagine that their time to really get on that tyre past many laps ago, really. But Edu now leads, and will he be able to lead at the end of the first lap under green flag conditions once more? Or will the likes of Kencon be looking for a move? He's got a bit of points to spend, let's put it that way. He can risk a few dangerous moves or a few more riskier moves, but we've seen throughout the championship battle that he's quite reserved, thinks of it the long game and just wants to win. But there we go, safety car in this lap. So as Edu now will back off from Burnt, let Burt Maylander get into the pits nice and safely. And when will he go? Will he go right at the line, or will he go early on? If you go right to the line, you don't risk the slipstream as much. If you go early on, you can start getting that tyre in, that temperature into the tyres early on. And here we go then, around turn 13. When does the Haas driver go? He backs up the pack. Oh, heavily backing up the pack through turn 14. Now, Bashi also getting a penalty. He'll surely be off to the stewards. But the Haas driver sprints now. The 21 car gets underway. We'll head into green flag conditions as we see the Mercedes alongside the Alpine of Cass into turn 1. Who will come out top? Jeremy Clarkson looks for a move down the inside, backs out, manages to keep all 4 tyres and doesn't make contact with the Alpine driver. Edu still leads by 3 tenths. Kangaskhan just behind him manages a gap of 4 tenths backwards. Jasper and Marcus battling out, although Marcus slightly disadvantaged. He's invisible, but Meyer manages to get up into P6, Fozzy.
Amir takes himself into the pits, comes out on the medium tyres. Was that a mistake? That could be race ending if it was. It's Edu over leads, as you say, from Kangaskhan by about half a second. A few people getting penalties during that session as well under safety car. Like you say, I reckon there'll be some steward inquiries there to dictate whether that was deemed worthy of a penalty or whether that will get taken away at the end of the race. But everybody bunched up as they always are under safety car, and going a little bit slower than what you'd normally see as well. That traction just not there in the wets. We don't expect it to get too much heavier in this rain, I wouldn't have thought. At least not to a stage where it's going to be required. Oh, that looks like Amir out of the race. It is.
Race ending it is.
It is Amir out of the race. Those medium tyres, if it was a mistake, it is paid, well, badly for him. He finds himself down and out of the race just on the exit of turn 6. The grip not there for those medium tyres. Who's going to be eyeing up a move down towards turn 1 though? It looks like it might be Meyer. Now, Meyer's definitely going to try and go around the outside of the McLaren. P5 and P6. Is he going to be able to make the move work? Oh, he's going to just about hold it. So I think there was a bit of contact there, but nothing to race ending. Is there any punches? No, it doesn't look like there's any punches, and I don't think there's any wing damage either. But RSD and Mystarius going all the way around as well. Oh, that's going to be tight. It looks for Mystarius and Marcus. I don't quite think he knew the Alfa Romeo was there. The Alfa Romeo is off and into the wall. He gets caught, does Marcus. I don't know who it is by, but he's sent flying into the wall. Loses his front right end plate. Lucky not to lose a wheel.
Marcus was popping in and out of existence earlier on, going through that transparency mode, so I do wonder if he has a bit of lag there that hasn't helped him at all, let's put it bluntly. But RSD was battling very heavily with the likes of Delange as well on the exit of turn 3, and has now managed to ensure he has that manoeuvre done. But Vasari still looking feisty on the rear wing of Delange 93. The Williams against the Aston Martin. Will the Williams be able to defend heading in to turn 1? That is, as we mentioned time and time again, probably over the last 11 laps at least once. That is your prime overtaking opportunity. It's all about getting the run though out of turn 14, especially in wet conditions. Overtake on. No DRS though, of course, in these conditions, and he managed to not gain enough in order to make a move into the braking zone. However, as in wet conditions, we have seen that the move around turn 3 can become a little bit more prevalent as RSD takes a little look towards taking a wider line on Meyer, but Meyer defends by taking the middle road through the banked corner, and Mastaris on the power, twitches with overseer, keeps it under control, gets a run on Delange, overtake enabled. Can he get the job done? It's not a conventional overtake opportunity, and it is not an overtake opportunity at all. He careers off into the wall, smashes his front wing. That was never going to happen, and all that's happened there is he's paid the price and will surely be visiting the pits within this lap. Delange manages to maintain P8. Mystarius lucky to keep in, well, still to be in this race after the move. He had the run out turn 3. That's the crucial thing. You get the run there, but where is your overtaking opportunity? You have to, well, play at a bit of risk there, as Meyer and RSD having a little bit of a sparring match through turn 12. Meyer still managed to defend though in P6. It is McLaren, Red Bull McLaren. It's not a sandwich I'd like to be in at all, but Meyer will look to gain on Jasper and defend from RSD. RSD was on pole position. He's P7 currently, and there goes another car. That is Daigoro, not Daigoro, his teammate Nicholas, facing the wrong way on the exit of turn 4. Not a place you want to be spinning, indeed. Possibly a bit of contact there, or it might have just been on traction, or simply the lack of it. He's gone 180 degrees and was struggling to get the car back facing the right direction. I believe no damage though. He still continues. The 37 car though, losing grip throughout his acceleration.
Going to go for the exact same thing on the launch to what Mystarius did, although he thought about it and then backed out. He had a great drive out of turn 3, like Mystarius out of a session as well, retiring in the pit lane. Undertaker and DeLonge have been fighting their way through Sector 1 and are continuing it through Sector 2. Undertaker does not want to let the Williams get much further ahead of him if he can help it. Yeah, really unfortunate for Mystarius though. He had a podium last time around in Hungary. He was 3rd there. That was his first podium of the season, and only 2 DNFs for Mystarius. We're going to unfortunately have to make that one free. Have a look at Undertaker though. Is he going to be able to make a dive down into turn 11? No, he's not. But he knows that in just a few corners, as I say, he's got that fantastic drive in towards turn 1. If he can just stay with the back of DeLonge. I thought he was going to have a look into turn 13 then and said that would have been quite brave. But here we go then. Undertaker has got a phenomenal drive. It's exactly what he would have wanted down towards turn 1. He might even be able to get the move done way before the corner, and it's going to be tight. He's going to be the last of the late breakers here. Oh, and DeLonge is going to try and hug this one out as much as he can, but the inside line just gives Undertaker that little bit extra traction. Can DeLonge take the move through turn 2 and into turn 3? I think Undertaker's got this one done quite nicely, and DeLonge is going to have to be quite brave if he wants to make a move through turns 5 and 6. He doesn't, and Undertaker gets a much better drive out. That's about all. I'll know that continue throughout the rest of the race.
Cass on Kangaskhan. It's a fight for the podium positions. Kangaskhan losing quite a bit of time to Edu. Edu's managed to gap the championship leader by 2.7 seconds, and Kangaskhan isn't looking particularly comfortable in the situation right now. Offline plenty of times. We see that in real life, but it does hamper you in game, and Cass has been gaining towards Kangaskhan, towards the Frenchman, and will he be able to make a move soon? You don't want to make it now, of course. You want to save your energy up, save your brazen moves for into turn 1. You can take the outside or the inside. Both have their advantages. You'd rather probably be on the inside. However, it opens up through the rest of the corners. But what opens up here is this corner, this lovely banked high-speed corner, taking a slightly more inside line on the overtake now. Kangaskhan also on overtake, defending this position from Cass, and it's 0-0 into turn 1. No gain there from either driver. The gap remains the same, but can Cass slowly edge towards Kangaskhan, or will he have to start worrying about Jeremy Clarkson behind him in the Mercedes, who is less than a second now. Kangaskhan taking the wider line, Cass taking the inside line. Again, we've seen that being played around with in real life. Who can get the better run through this section? The end of Sector 1, the start of Sector 2 as we enter turn 7. Kangaskhan again drifting out a little bit. The car's just not looking particularly stable. He looks as if he's not driving on the limit, but just reserving a little bit to ensure he takes home a nice haul of points in his championship battle. Through turn 9 we go, and no DRS, remember, so it makes overtaking even more arduous in Zandvoort as they gain and gain and gain.
DeLonge has been finding himself as the prey in quite a few battles here. Have a look at Daigoro. He's trying to make his way around the inside of the Williams driver for the final few points positions. He's right behind him. He's got all his battery being deployed, 90%, and a bit of DRS to help him down into turn 11, but he knows that he's just not able to make that move work. So he's going to stay behind the Williams and probably aim for a dive in towards turn 1. If he can stay this close behind, the move should be done way before the corner as well. Let's see what he's able to do and how good their drives are through this banked corner. It does help a little bit with traction, but the rain does take that advantage away just a little bit. He's a quarter of a second behind. We can see DeLonge weaving down the straight to try and break that toe, and I think he's done a good job of that because Daigoro nearly went into the back of DeLonge there, just making sure that the Williams driver knows he's there. I'm sure he most certainly does know he's there as well. Let's talk about Edu though, up at the front. Look how far ahead he is. 4 seconds he's gapped to Kangaskhan, who's busy trying to defend from the Alpine driver of Cass. And he's doing a very good job at defending as well, with the Alpine driver not being able to get close enough to make a move happen. He has a look down the inside of turn 9 there. And while all this is happening, Edu, as I say, is very happily just making his way further forward in the field. We have a yellow flag in Sector 2. Is that another Haas driver?
That might be Owen. Yeah, I believe that might be Owen going a little bit slowly. I believe might be a bit wing damage there. I can't see the front left wing. So, although it is still there, he does have a full complement. Just getting a little bit out of shape.
Digora's going for that move. No, he's not. He looked like he was. He very did look like he was going to be going for that move. Let's see if he can do it again into turn 1. Oh, let's see if he can keep it without fishtailing out of the exit of turn 12 to begin with. It looks like he's been able to do that. Yeah, it is definitely doable weather for Fish. And don't forget, the sea is not too far behind this grandstand on the left as well. Yeah, down towards the turn 1 section where we've seen a few moves happen so far. On lap 17 of the Invictus Racing League PC F1 League. It's round 10 here at Zandvoort. We see Owen is vibing pitting. We're sponsored by GT Omega and in partnership with GridFinder.com and Driver 61, where I continue, Cameron, to ride on board with Digoro, seeing if he will eventually get past the launch.
It seems to be a bit of a moot point, doesn't it? Both cars still managing in these conditions to just keep it out of the wall and keep it going. Without the DRS, it hampers your chances of overtaking even further as Owen's back into the pits. Although with Haas leading, he'll gain at least a complement of 15 points here, which will help massively in the Constructors' battle when their nearest opponents, AlphaTauri, well, one car's in the wall, was in the wall, and the other one is down in 12. So a solid gain of points there, which might even see them take potentially on Aston Martin as well, as Visaris, the only Aston Martin driver, is also out. So Edu could entail massive gains for Haas in this Constructors' Championship, bearing in mind if he hangs on for the next remaining laps as Cass once again closing up. It seems to be about that 4/10 gap. If we get any closer, it might just help him a little bit more. Cancon also using overtake. Both of them actually similar energy levels here, but will Cass go for the move, do the daring dive bomb, risk it all in order to take P2. He's currently on the podium already, taking a slightly more inside line to get a better run into turn 3. Will he look towards the outside here? He does look towards the outside, unable to gain enough traction there with a slippery surface, not really helping the Alpine driver. But now Jeremy Clarkson has gained right up to them too, but Cass, who is in within 2/10, Kangaskhan looking to make the most of the effects of the dirty air. It's not helping Cass, but it certainly helps Kangaskhan, as there is a yellow flag, sector 3, and that is Owen once again. Is he in the wall?
He was in the wall, and there's a lot of debris on the entrance to the pit lane as well. Talking of the pit lane, that's the next destination for Owen. He had just come out, I believe, on that set of intermediate tyres, so he's going to return it in his 30-day return warranty back to the pits and go back for another set of intermediates as well. So yeah, just to be cautious of all that debris the drivers need to deal with. Yeah, Jeremy Clarkson is hunting down this battle in front of him, just waiting to see if they're going to trip over each other in front, but it doesn't look like that's happening yet. What it does look like is Cass has got a much better drive out of turn 14 than what he had done on the previous lap. And is it enough to make a move? He thinks about it, and again, he just goes, no, I'm going to wait until I'm a little bit closer.
It's all about getting close to your opponent here, but managing to not punt them into a wall, nor yourself, which a few drivers have struggled with within this evening's Grand Prix. But Digoro moves up to P9 as well against Delange, 93, taking the 9th position, derogating Delange down to the lowest points position here. But Cass still looking to gain on Kangaskhan, taking a very different line to Kangaskhan throughout that corner. You see that, and I wonder if that's just where Kangaskhan is finding the time, or whether that's where actually Cass is gaining the time due to the tyre stress. Now, bear in mind there is no DRS, etc. It does possibly influence a bit more of an attack through into turn 11 and 12, knowing that your opponent can't get DRS back on you, as Cass looks to stay on the left. Kangaskhan actually went to defend that move there, so Kangaskhan starting to feel the pressure indeed from his Alpine opponent, almost pushing him around turn 12 there, as Cass is then struggling on the power. A little bit of oversteer, managed to get the reins on the Alpine, and now we'll see, does he have enough power in the battery and enough thrill and will to get this position, or will he have to back out once more? He's definitely closer, and will it be close enough to go into turn 1? He looks towards the inside, he sends it down the inside of Kangaskhan. They're both alongside each other, they're broadsiding, tyres tap, managed to keep it going as we head in to turn 3 now, and Kangaskhan holds on, but Will Cass able to take the position on the exit of turn 3, heading into turn 4. Look at this, they're so close. You've seen time and time again throughout the evening how the cars come together here. They risk it all down the inside through turn 6 onto turn 7. This is a mighty battle for P2. It's not even the race lead. And look at the two titans going against each other. Kangakon runs wide and Cass is up into P2, and Kangakon is in trouble down into P4 with Jeremy Clarkson. The hunter will soon become the hunted as he moves up to P3. Fozzy.
Yeah, great hunting by Jeremy Clarkson. And yeah, he's really lucky to nip a position off those two battling in front. I said that he would just be waiting for something to happen, and indeed it did. Kangakon, your championship leader, down into P4 in a moment, but it's not over yet. 16 laps to go, and isn't this a great drive from Cass, who joined us back in Canada. He's only scored 1 point in the past 3 races. At the moment he's P2, and he's going to be jumping up onto the podium if he can take this all the way to the end.
Jasper as well, a brilliant drive so far, up into P5. Started very low down the grid and is now ahead of his McLaren teammates, quite comfortably as well for the time being. But Jeremy Clarkson gaining, in fact, on Cass, so Cass could come under threat again this lap, but this time from a Mercedes rather than a Williams, but both with Merc power powering them on through and around Zandvoort. But 6.4 seconds is the gap between Edu and Cass. It has been Edu domination.
Look at Meyer and Jasper. That's how you do the move through turns 5 and 6. We've seen a few drivers trying to negotiate that part of a track whilst overtaking throughout the course of the past 21 laps, but Meyer does it impeccably. He manages to get past on the left-hand side of the two McLarens. Jasper leads his teammate RSD. They're both in P6 and 7, so double point scoring for the McLaren, something which we've become quite accustomed to over the past few races. The McLaren drivers had their lineup switched just a couple of rounds into this season, and since then they've been scoring and scoring in every round we have gone to. But it is Cass that is trying to defend still from Jeremy Clarkson. He's about 8 tenths back at the moment, so I think he's got a bit of work to do, has Clarkson, to make a move on Cass. Some of the nearest battles that are going on are between those two McLaren drivers. RSD's just under half a second behind Jasper, and he's got a lot more battery as well. He is deploying, and he has got a bit of DRS, but he's moving out of that dirty air.
Yeah, Undertaker looking for a move into turn 1.
Oh, yeah.
That's why RSC had to defend that manoeuvre there. He defends successfully. Undertaker actually locked the brakes slightly more than intended. RSC still maintains P7, but Undertaker, the man who started very high up on the grid, in fact, starting on the front row, now finds himself battling for P7. It's not how they want it to go, and it's very much role reversal between him and Jasper. Jasper starting low down and managing to fight his way back up to P6, and now will the Alpine driver be able to regain another position as he heads up towards the top 5, the top 5 being rounded out by Meyer, who's 4 tenths from Kangakon, and who said you can't overtake around Zandvoort. So, you know, just all you got to do is just add a bit of water to the track, slow the cars down a little bit, make it a little bit more reliant on driver skill, and there we go. We get good overtaking manoeuvres, far and few between, but aren't they just ever so thrilling to watch as Meyer looks to gain towards the Frenchman Kangakon, as I said, lost out on that manoeuvre a little while ago, down into P4 off the podium, and Meyer might just be looking to take P4 now, and look how close they are, rounding out the final bit of the lap, turn 14, got to keep the car powered, overtake being used by both drivers. Who will win out on top? Will the situation be enough? Will Meyer look to a move down the inside, and oh my, he goes for it into turn 1, holds it on the inside. Will Kangakon be forced off once more? No, but will they tap tyres once more? Almost, as now the both cars career through turn 2, heading to turn 3. They're alongside the Red Bull on the outside line as we exit turn 3. Both drivers keeping it clean, and it is Meyer up into P4 for Red Bull Racing, up 2 positions from where he started. Kangakon down 1 from where he started on the grid as well, Fozzy.
The McLaren of RSD and Undertaker. Whoa! Undertaker goes onto the gravel there, just catches the curb a little bit, has to go wide. I was saying he was going side by side with RSD was Undertaker all through Sector 1. Your commentary, if you just switched out the names, would have been bang on, the exact same as to what was happening on my screen as well. So RSD and Undertaker having a nice little battle there, but it just took it to the edge of a track, and Undertaker's dropped back by about a second. He was gaining on that McLaren, and he's going to want to gain a little bit more to try and make that move happen.
Kangakon now in P5. Jasper now is the next hunter who wants to take Kangakon for a little bit of fun and take the position away from him. But will he be able to do it? We're on lap 24, soon to be over. We are on lap 24 in the final ish area of the race, and Jasper not actually staying within the zone of Cancon there, right in the slipstream, because he's had to defend from his teammate RSD. Seems to be no team orders at McLaren, and both are willing to fight nail and tooth for every position. That seems to work for them so far this season since the swap, and I wonder if it'll work again this race, as we just see Cancon. I believe in the last wet race we saw as well, Cancon just didn't look particularly too comfortable in wet conditions, or these conditions where they're quite variable. And he seems to obviously must run a very much dry setup, which may just harm him a little bit in the race as we see him dropping down. We've seen this driver win from 7th and below on the grid, but this time it seems to be a slightly different tale around Zandvoort in the Netherlands, as Jasper is getting closer and closer towards Kangaskhan. It seems to be a mere matter of time, matter of when, not if, for the McLaren driver, the lead Dutchman in the championship standings, to take P5 from the Frenchman. But will it be this lap, or will it be on to the next one, down into turn 1? If you're wondering where Edu, by the way, he's enjoying himself. He's up 6.2 seconds from Cass. He's just having a cruise, and a cruise was quite relevant terminology with conditions like this. Still, the cars sailing around the Netherlands. Now 3/10 separate Kangaskhan and Jasper. Kangaskhan, we've seen to use a lot of energy. Jasper actually using very little, not really hammering on the overtake, and that might just be why he didn't gain the position through turn 1. But it's all a matter of time for when he makes the move, and whether he'll end up or whether RSD will capitalise on the fighting, or even Undertaker, who now has regained that time he lost from doing a little bit of cross-country driving a little while ago, as he now looks to gain on RSD. But McLaren in P6 and 7, it could be a whole lot more for them a lot sooner, Fozzy.
Yeah, Maya's not too far behind Jeremy Clarkson as well. I think everybody who's trying to gain on a driver in front of him is just wondering, well, if I just hold back a bit, we've got 10 laps to go, they might make a mistake. I mean, some of the best drivers we've seen in this field, the likes of Kankan and Jasper, have all made mistakes in this race. We see Undertaker, we see Jasper dropping back behind Undertaker. As I mentioned his name, I didn't quite catch what happened there. Maybe there was a bit of a moment. But as I was saying, even the best drivers on this grid have made mistakes. So don't rule anything out in the wet weather here. Anything is possible. Undertaker's got one McLaren. He's going to try and get another one into turn 1 as well. Keep your eyes on Maya. And Jeremy Clarkson as well. What happened there? Looks like RSD's just slowed down to let Undertaker through, it seems. So obviously something going on there, but he's trying to weave and defend his Undertaker, having just been let by McLaren. So that battle still raging on between the two McLarens and Undertaker. We've got one other Alpine in the field. He's up at the front, leading the majority of the train. He's in P2 at the moment. Is Cass Edu, miles ahead of everybody else, and pending any issues by him, any squiggles off the track, it looks like he's got a fairly comfortable win ahead of him. No one's been able to catch him. Maya, though, still trying to catch Jeremy Clarkson. The gap between those is just under 4/10, and it's one of the closest battles on the track at the moment, this Maya and Clarkson malarkey. So let's see, with 10 laps to go, if Maya can make any move into turn 11. He's got a bit of DRS to help him. He's got half battery as well. Jeremy Clarkson's got 70% battery, so quite a bit more, which should aid him down that pit straight in towards turn 1. It all depends, though, just how well Maya can get a drive out of turn 13. And based on previous laps, he tends to match Jeremy Clarkson. They get a fairly even drive. And with the gap being about half a second now, I don't think we're going to see a move into turn 1 just yet.
Jeremy Clarkson defending, though. Still, he knows the risk that Maya faces. We saw the Maya trick there before a couple of times, and he just manages to keep the car going towards where it needs to be, almost going in the pit lane backwards there, and down the opposite way that you should, around the exit. But wow, that's some car control being showcased from the Red Bull driver. The daring Dane manages to maintain not too far of a gap, actually, Jeremy Clarkson, considering he's just had to save his car from what surely could have been a race-ending impact with the wall there. It's 4 tenths seems to be the magic number when it comes to following a car around here, and if you dip into that 3 tenths, even potentially 2.5 tenths, that's when you can start looking towards a manoeuvre. Manoeuvre has been made by Marcus down the back of the field on Bastion. Not racing for points, but dignity and pride, as usual, is at stake, and Marcus is now managing to hold P12 from Bashi, who is the only AlphaTauri left in the field, as earlier Liam Markham DNF'd whilst trying to take on the intermediate tyres, and in order to experiment with them, got on them a little bit too early, we think, and unfortunately careered into the wall around here actually. So you might find a little bit of AlphaTauri there. Hopefully not the full car though, but look at the gap now between Maya and Jeremy Clarkson, 7/10, so that mistake has cost him a little bit. But Undertaker, less than a 10th between Kangaskhan. Here we go, Undertaker, will he become the overtaker once more? Kangaskhan takes to a defensive line, once more he's on the outside. There seems to be a pattern, and whenever he is on the outside he loses the position, but he hasn't lost it just yet. Kangaskhan now on the inside for turn 3, and Undertaker looking for a switch back here, upshifts very shortly in order to maintain traction. Don't want all the power of the 1,000 horsepower, it might send you flying, but Undertaker now gains through turn 6 as we head towards 7, loses a little bit through dirty air, breaks a little bit earlier as well. Kangaskhan still within risk of losing 5th position, going down towards 6th in a matter of corners time, but 3/10 is the gap. Undertaker manages to maintain that gap, even though with all the little battling, and behind he's got Jasper and RSD who are looking to catch up and potentially even take them on in a matter of laps. With Kangaskhan, the conductor of this train, might soon find himself being delegated down into one of the carriages. But Undertaker, 3/10 between him and Kangaskhan. Will he be able to gain a little bit more now through turn 13 and of course 14? These are tricky corners in the dry and even more tricky in the wet, Fozzy.
And that final podium position is up for grabs for Meyer. He's right behind Jeremy Clarkson, who is again weaving to try and make his way around the outside. Is Meyer going to go? Oh, that was daring. Does he manage to make it stick? No, he doesn't. Jeremy Clarkson holds on to that position. It's nice to see the original Red Bull livery back in the game as well. Makes our job commentating just a little bit easier to identify whether it's a Red Bull or a Haas. You may lose one of the Haas's because we've already lost one. The other one so far up ahead of Cass. This is a great race, by the way, for Alpine, who, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, have not scored any points in the last 2 races. And at the moment, they lie P2 and P6, and the one in P6 lies just behind your championship leader. Undertaker is still eyeing up Kangaskhan to try and make a move, and this time he's a little bit closer than where he was on the last lap. And will he be able to utilise the DRS out of turn 10 and into turn 11 if he can keep it on the black stuff? I think he might just be able to, Cameron.
It's 2 times into turn 1 he's tried the same move and it hasn't paid off those 2 times, but will we be 3-time lucky here for Undertaker? Kangaskhan again just managed to defend that outside line that then leads eventually into the inside into turn 3, and that just gives him a little bit more grip than those who dare to go around the outside. But Undertaker now gains and gains and gains. A bit of an overtake will be used here, I'm sure. Whoa, and there's a slap of oversteer for Undertaker, almost in the wall, almost race ending. He weaves just to make sure he's okay, I think, just to accept that. Wow, what a save that was. And Kangaskhan, interestingly, was looked to be regenerating a little bit earlier than Undertaker did, but Undertaker misses out on another move, so he wasn't 3 times lucky, but I don't think we count that because he managed to be lucky in multiple other ways and manages to keep that Alpine that has looked quite skittish at the pass in other tracks. Such as Hungary, looked very skittish, and but now, wow, they manages to keep it under wraps and can focus on charging down Kangaskhan, and doesn't lose that much time. Out of all that, he doesn't lose much time at all, and is within that 3/10 magic number that we'd like to see for a potential overtake heading in towards the end of Sector 2. But will he get it done? Time is counted down. We are on lap 30 of 36 of the Netherlands Grand Prix here in Invictus Racing League Season 13 PC F1, brought to you in partnership with Driver 61, Gridfinder and GT Omega. Check out our partners in the description below. But for now, check out this potential overtaking manoeuvre from Undertaker, as RSD is also closing in with the 5/10 here of the 2 fighting. The conductor now looks to possibly defend this overtake. Does he move, and when does he move? Gains in the slipstream, does Undertaker, and Undertaker takes to the inside. Again, will he be lucky? He gains a little bit, takes the inside, Kangaskhan on the outside, and he is ahead of Kangaskhan on the exit. The wheels barely just touch. Kangaskhan now holding the inside into turn 3. Will they both make it around? There seems to be a little bit of contact there. Undertaker on the outside, doesn't get the job done. Does he get a better run now? Heading into turn 4, 5. 5 and 6. Here is turn 5, and here comes turn 6, and now we're into turn 7 already, and Undertaker is still behind Kangaskhan, unable to get the job done. He's running out of laps now. He needs to be able to get the move on the Frenchman and start planning on putting a few cars between him and the likes of those McLarens, who will surely be hunting down to position 5 on this race track.
And here goes Meyer. I don't know if Jamie Clarkson went a little bit wide, but Meyer's going to go around the outside. It becomes the inside of his chicane, and Meyer does just about make his way up into that final podium position, but Jamie Clarkson is right behind him, and this right here is a DRS detection zone, so I believe Clarkson will get some DRS, although he doesn't get a very good exit out of turn 13. But yeah, the corners really do come at you on this track, especially through Sector 1. It's one corner after the next, with not much breathing space in between. Undertaker, though, is going to try and get past Kangaskhan once more. He's got a little bit of battery, but he's not deploying it yet, so I think he's just playing a little bit safer and conservatively as well. Clarkson, though, will be eager in the next 4 laps to try and regain that position off of Meyer. Jamie Clarkson obviously driving for Mercedes, who lead by 1 point in the Constructors' Championship at the moment. So we have a yellow flag in Sector 2 as well. I don't quite know what caused that. It looks like there's some battling at the back between Bashi and Nicholas Swain. But yeah, Undertaker, he's just eyeing up Kangaskhan, ready to make a move when he feels like it. As you said, Cameron, he's running out of laps.
Deja vu, everyone. Deja vu is the key phrase today. We've seen plenty of opportunities, plenty of this over again. We've watched it on repeat, but will we see a change of outcome? There's been a change of outcome down in P11 as Nicholas overtakes Marcus. I think there might have been a little bit of battling going on, which might have inflicted a yellow flag, but no worries just yet. But Undertaker closing. And remember, Fozzy, there is no DRS. It's wet conditions, and that hampers them even more into the overtaking opportunities in turn 1. So it is all done on battery and pure slipstream alone, and slipstream and pure battery alone might be what needed. And some large, mighty, daring moves indeed as Undertaker gains and gains. This could be it, ladies and gentlemen. Into turn 1, then neck and neck on straight line speed. Overtake used from both cars. Just Undertaker set it in the inside. He does lick the stamp and send it, and Kangaskhan still manages to hold it on the outside. This is magnificent defending from the Frenchman. You can see why the championship leader, ladies and gentlemen, as Undertaker breaks late onto turn 3, manages to actually get a better drive and overtakes Clarkson on the outside, and the run into turn 4, 5, and once again 6. And Undertaker, after a multitude of laps, gets it done, and he is now up into 5th position. Remember, folks, he started on the front row, so it's been a good recovery drive from the Alpine driver, who was, well, very far down the grid on the early stages of this race, Fozzy.
Yeah, what a great move by Undertaker. Won once this season back in Canada. DNF, though, last time round in Hungary, and very nearly DNFs again as he just gets a little bit too eager with the right-hand pedal there. But up into P5 with his teammate in P2, as I've said multiple times in this broadcast. That is great for the Alpine team, who've yet to score in the past 2 races, and they didn't want to make it come in free, and they've really turned things around and got some good points for the Constructors' Championship here. Only a few more laps to go, though, here in the Netherlands, and the 2 McLaren drivers are still battling their way around behind that big battle of Undertaker and your championship leader, Kangaskhan, who is dropping back from Undertaker now. He's got a lot of work to do if he wants to regain that position. The leaders of, well, not the leaders, he's already got past them, but Cass and Meyer are going to be coming up to some back markers in a few moments' time, but I think with the amount of laps remaining, that shouldn't be too much of an issue for them.
That gap has come down though, hasn't it, Fozzy? That was around 5, even 6 seconds a couple of laps ago. Not sure what's happened there. Edu obviously has a bit of time in the bank just in case of any minor mistakes, but maybe his inters are starting to wear out a little bit. It has been a long stint on those inter tyres, and he might just be losing the edge of grip, and maybe just starting to see a few mistakes creeping in. Jasper is seeing a couple mistakes and a couple opportunities potentially to overtake not only RSD, but even maybe Kangaskhan by the time the checkered flag falls in the Netherlands. No overtaking opportunities or manoeuvres just yet. No one willing to make a move. McLaren still want the haul of points over their compatriots. As we said, they are kind of thrusted into the constructors' battle against Mercedes and Williams, and are around about there on track as well. So definitely a good day for McLaren. They probably wish they're further up, such as Jasper and RSD. Well, RSD started on pole position, didn't he? So he certainly wish he was further up indeed, but he could get a little bit further, a little bit incrementally via chasing down Cancon, although it is lap 35, so your penultimate lap, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you all for joining us so far, and we hope you have enjoyed it as much as we have. It's been a phenomenal showcase of driver ability and strength, and how far they are willing to battle for positions in this 15-round Invictus Racing League season, the 13th season here on PC F1, as RSC slowly gains on Kangaskhan. Whether it'll be enough just yet, we'll have to find out. Nothing is all set and determined in this race, and Kangaskhan has found it a little bit troublesome, I'd imagine, around the Netherlands. But it doesn't matter, he's got plenty of points to spend, and it doesn't inflict him too badly, because Jasper, who is the second person in the championship, is about 30 points behind him heading into this round, so he's over 2 race wins clear from the rest of the field. But every race does add up eventually over time, and time is what RSD is running out of here to get a move done. We are on the final lap of this race as Edu has crossed the line up the road, and now it comes up to RSD on the final lap. Can he make the move stick on Cancon? This really is your only overtaking opportunity conventionally, we'd imagine. However, we have seen brilliant overtaking manoeuvres throughout this race, changing of positions that we don't even think you'd risk. And will RSD risk it all to take on Kangaskhan? Or will it be, or will he just settle for 7th place? It's 2 tenths, 3 tenths now over Kangaskhan. Through turn 7 we go. On into sector 2 now comfortably. And then turn 8. And you just have a hint that Kangaskhan might just be very lucky to hold on to P6 yet. But don't worry, we've got a whole other sector and a bit to go just yet. And a mistake can creep in at any time, and that might be a little mistake there from Kangaskhan. Going wide on entry has brought RSD closer and closer and closer, but still that gap prevails, and it's now 4 tenths. Unless he goes for a daring move there, he will not win. But who will win will be Edu. He's had 3-point finishes before this race. He scored 2 points last time out, and he scores a full 15 here in the Netherlands. A dominant drive from the Haas driver there, the 21 car in P1, and Cass joins him on the podium, as well as Meyer heading into this race from qualifying. Don't think anyone could have predicted that those 3 drivers would win or would be on the podium. And wow, there we have it. Cass up 8 positions from where he started, alongside Jeremy Clarkson and Jasper, who have both been movers in the field, both all up 8 positions. And Edu himself started down in 5th place and now finishes on P1. Fozzy, that was a race, wasn't it? Wow, I think I've just calmed down. And wow, if that's what the next couple rounds hold, then we're in for a thrilling end to the season.
Yeah, stellar drive by everybody there. The top 3 on the podium. Only 1 podium appearance between all 3 of them this season. That was the 2nd place for Meyer back all the way in round 2 in Australia. First time on the podium, though, for Edu and Cass. Obviously, a maiden win for the Haas driver is always going to be something to be proud about. So congratulations to him. It's a shame that we lost 4 drivers during that race as well, but everybody else managed their tyres absolutely brilliantly. And we always love it when there's a bit of rain. It throws strategy into the air, and we see moves where you don't conventionally see them. But your in-game driver of the day is Cass. That was a race that, as you say, Cameron, I really hope continues into the next few rounds.
There we go. There is your podium. Right there, a brilliant podium. See, quite a varied one as well. Seeing Haas up on a podium, something we might not see for a little while in real life, or you never know. Mazepin could be on the podium plenty of times next season. But there we have it. That is round 10 over and done with. The Netherlands. We say goodbye to the Netherlands and Dank for the brilliant race here in Zandvoort. A Rebel on the podium as well. A Daring Dane up there as well. But there is your classification. Edu wins the race from 5th place on the grid. Cass taking 2nd, followed by Meyer. Both all finishing, or starting outside the top 3. Jeremy Clarkson started P12, finishes P4. And there is the rest of your finishes to large. Rounds out the points. And Liam Markham, Amir, Mystarius, Owen is vibing were your only drivers to DNF this race. Liam Markham and Owen, I believe, both on changing over to the intermediate tyre slightly early. I'm sure they'll be kicking themselves if they didn't change over slightly later. But the safety car shaked things all up when the race leaders failed to box in the early laps, boxed a little bit later, and that cost them potentially the race victory. But anyway, join us next time as we head to Italy. We go from a tight, twisty track to the Temple of Speed over in Monza, then Portugal, Spain, Singapore and Mexico to round out the season. But until then, it's a very thankful goodbye from Fozzy and I. Oh, I'll tell you what, I think we're all done in from that one. Brilliant drive for everyone. Have a good one, and goodbye.